Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it will be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! So, some context. In high school, I unfortunately fell for my bully. Granted, I was head over heels and was too excessive at times, would constantly be on his social media and follow him in the hallways, but he used the affection I had for him to his sick advantage. 100% psychological abuse/manipulation. Eventually, he contacted me on Snapchat and manipulated me into sending inappropriate photos twice. Once when I was 16 and once when I was 18. A few months after the first encounter, I found out he did what he did on a dare and allegedly showed the photos to his buddies, which made doing it a second time all the more messed up. This nearly broke me and caused me to go to therapy at least a few times. Fast forward, and I'm now in college with some of the best people on earth that are there for me. I would never let a scumbag like that hurt me ever again. They also know about that douche and have promised to fight him. Love these jerks. Now the karma. I was waiting at a train station to go back for my winter quarter during my senior year at university. My friend sent me a photo of the douchebag. Apparently, he got put on a sex offenders registry for possession of other inappropriate materials back in August of 2019. A buddy of mine from high school said that he went after multiple underage girls, which made me sick to my stomach. Not only that, he also got kicked out of his university military cadet program after being granted a scholarship to said program before we all graduated high school. Update: it looks like he got kicked out of his former university altogether, or transferred for something he royally messed up. Justice. The story takes place about 2 or 3 years ago on a cold November night. I had been invited to a girls' night with a couple of girlfriends. About a year before this all took place, I had met a now very good friend of mine, Annie. A bright-eyed, brilliantly smart young girl who had recently moved across the globe from China. We met in college and instantly hit things off. Shortly after we met, Annie also met Sophia. I was told that they met while shopping at the same store, but I honestly think that they met because Sophia wanted them to meet. She probably saw us hanging out here and there and just had to be a part of it. Now, Annie is a very bright and optimistic person and sees the good in everyone, so trying to warn her about Sophia proved to be futile. On a good note, she didn't believe anything Sophia said about me either. I introduced her to a few of my other girlfriends and they welcomed her with open arms. So, to the night of the story. I had received a text from Katie asking if I wanted to join her, Annie, Sophia, and another friend of ours, Maria, for some dinner and shopping. I was at first reluctant to say yes because Sophia, granted at this point she hadn't really been bothering me, but we still very much didn't get along. But decided against it because I really needed a night to just have fun. I quickly got ready and met up at our chosen spot, which was maybe 10 to 15 minutes from my apartment. I instantly knew I made the wrong decision when I walked up. And the first thing out of this witch's mouth was, "Wow, that dress seriously makes you look fat. Also, you are way too overdressed." I was not. I had on a simple red bodycon dress, my favorite style, and some matching 3-inch heels. My makeup wasn't too flashy and my hair was done up in a curly ponytail. We were all pretty well dressed, not to mention that the restaurant we were all eating at was noted to be formal. I am also not fat, not trying to body shame anyone. I'm 5'9", weigh around 54 kilograms. This woman and I were very similar in weight. I gave her a cold "don't screw with me" glare and complimented everyone on their wonderful choice of attire but her. just for a bit of petty revenge. It was a Friday night, so the restaurant was pretty packed, and we had to wait about 20 minutes before being seated. Dinner actually went very well, to my surprise, besides the occasional attention to me outbursts from Sophia during conversations. We didn't stay long after we were done because we were all excited to go shopping and buy ourselves some new outfits, accessories, and some very much needed household items. My toilet paper was running low. It was fairly early in the night, about 6:30 by the time we left the restaurant and decided to stop by a few stores. We eventually came up at this cute little chic-style clothing store. I had maybe been in a store once or twice prior and remember that they had a great selection of styles. Maria and I headed to the back because she and I shared a similar fashion sense, while Annie, Sophia, and Katie stayed up at the front and looked at some jewelry. I was honestly enjoying myself and was beginning to think that maybe it was a good idea I decided to come out. Plus, I hadn't seen Maria in a little while, and it was great to catch up with her. She and her now husband were actually engaged, and she was telling me all about her wedding planning was going. In a previous conversation we had a few months before, I had to tell her I couldn't make it to the wedding because I would be flying out of town during that month to stay with some family and attend a funeral. Our conversation was going great when I, all of a sudden, heard the loud, "Oh my god, look how cute and small he is," followed by a nervous sounding, "Ma'am, please step away from my baby." Maria was no stranger to the likes of Sophia, so she and I both headed to the front of the store to see what was going on, and maybe put a stop to it before things got out of hand. Near the jewelry rack stood the young mother, late 20s, early 30s, and what looked to be her sleeping newborn son, and a very flamboyant Sophia who couldn't read the social cues to back up. She proceeded to get closer to the infant and gushed out loudly, "He's seriously the cutest thing I've ever seen." Then turned to us, "Guys, look at this little stinker. I'm actually surprised you," turned back to the mother, "have him out this late. You should be at home." The woman looked from Sophia to us, almost as if she's asking for some backup. Annie then stepped forward and gently grabbed Sophia's arm, trying to pull her backwards. "Sophia, I think you should leave them alone. You're kind of too close." "Oh, get lost. I'm not hurting anyone." This is a part where I wish I would have left. By this point, the baby had awoken from the loud voices and looked on the verge of tears. The witch turned back to the mother and said, "I'm going to hold him for a bit, okay?" The woman vehemently pulled the stroller back and said, "No, you need to leave me alone." The other girls and I pleaded with Sophia to just leave the poor woman and her baby alone, but she refused. "No, I am going to hold him. You can do your shopping if you want and then come back to get him when you're done." I think the woman went into shock from the audacity Sophia had because she stood frozen. We all did. Our bed. When Sophia reached forward and began to unbuckle the baby from the car seat. I would like to note that this baby was tiny and couldn't have been more than a week old. As Sophia proceeded to remove the buckles from the child, the woman's hands zipped down faster and smacked her so hard across the face that she nearly fell into the jewelry stands. Cue the chaos. "Ow! What was that for? Who do you think you are?" The baby starts screaming. The four of us try to hold Sophia back as she proceeds to charge at the woman. The store employee comes asking what's the matter and quickly proceeds to call the police upon seeing a screaming child, upset mother, and psychopathic Sophia trying to claw her face off. "You're a witch! Stay away from my baby!" She yells at the mother. "Sophia, calm down." "Screw you!" Baby screams louder and store employees attempt to defuse the situation by standing between the mother. That psycho eventually calms down and the cops show up to take everybody's statements. No shocker, Sophia was in a wrong and is almost twisted away into a cop car, but the woman decided not to press charges, simply asking to just leave because she's tired and needs to calm down her little one who was still fussing. I also doubt that anything would have happened to Sophia because her parents would have gotten her out with no marks. In the end, I definitely regretted going out. The only things that kind of made it worth it were that I got to see some of my other good friends. I bought a few cute outfits and I had a great dinner. I never did get the toilet paper I needed though. Edit. For confusion on the funeral, I've had a few comments and PMs with people wondering how you can schedule a funeral months in advance. A family friend of our grandfather died and a lot of her family and friends couldn't make certain dates, so she and the rest of her family preserved the body until an agreed upon date. That date happened to be 4 days before Maria's big day. When she invited me to the wedding, it was about 2.5 months before the funeral was scheduled, so I had to tell her that I couldn't make it. I would like to introduce you to Cuddle Mom. She's my entitled cousin's mother. And the Wonder Woman, aka the entitled cousin's soon-to-be ex-wife, is also mentioned. To us, it seems like she almost in complete agreement with her son. She doesn't like it one bit that her precious son had to exchange his nice house with wife and children for a prison cell and divorce papers. When the entitled aunt and cousin's dad were met, When my entitled aunt and cousin's dad were met with my cousin's belongings, aunt lost her absolute mind. My cousin's wife called me to relay the story. Aunt called my cousin's wife and started her spiel of how dare you divorce my absolute gem of a son. Puke, anyone? My cousin's wife had learned from me and recorded everything in case she needed it. The wife just simply waited till the aunt had to draw some breath before she said something along the lines of the cousin should be happy he wasn't charged with financial abuse as well. Proof aplenty according to her. And that since she loved her son so much, she could have him, as my aunt always thought my cousin's wife only purpose was to provide cousin with children and meet his every need. Some other things were said, and cousin's wife is a woman who I start to admire more with each passing day. Really, it's like she broke free and became something amazing. She doesn't care that people play the family card. She learned from my mistakes and she doesn't sugarcoat her words. She told me in no uncertain terms that I behaved with too much caution and forgiveness and should have burned them to the ground the moment they started their crap. I have to admit, I agree. Cousin's dad walked in on that conversation and lost his mind on aunt. Cousin's wife told aunt that she did not want any contact. My cousin's dad could call and they would make arrangements for him to see the grandchildren. Cousin's wife is working with a lawyer and social services on how to approach visits between the aunt and her grandchildren concerning some things that you will read below. So after getting an earful from her soon-to-be ex-daughter-in-law, my aunt started calling me and Happy, demanding that we drop everything, begged her forgiveness for nonsense like tearing the family apart and not doing what was right. We recorded, hung up, blocked her and saved everything we needed and filed for a no-contact order. But when all of her shenanigans didn't work, she tried something else. She seemed to have learned from her son, my cousin, where I lived. So she came to our house, but as we have doorbells with cameras, love the invention, with recording settings, I could enjoy the show from my spot on the couch while she dug her own grave. Like hell I was opening the door with aunt outside. No lady, heck no. I was so glad my children and Happy were not home. Screams alternated between, "How dare you do this to my son? I am going to insert violence here to you. And you should have given him what he wanted. That's how it's done." Hello medieval mindset, where the men matter and women only matter to give the men what they want. I understand in an instance where cousin got this, bow down to the will of family came from. Too bad I couldn't get any snacks or drinks due to doctor's orders of rest, but watching from the cameras how aunt lost her mind and started throwing everything she could at my home and then get arrested by our town's finest people in blue was just priceless. I'm also slightly disappointed she didn't get to meet Frou and my first baby, LeFou. Yep, we got a dog. LeFou is a super duper sweetie pie Rottweiler mix of about 2 years old. Total lap dog for us and just a right kind of protective. He was already being trained by the name he went. Turns out that NY knows a breeder and she was asked to name the pup so this litter. LeFou and my family have been doing some extensive training with double N. This day LeFou was at the vet with my hubby and children for a meet and greet and health inspection. So hello LF, do you still have some spare time? Now you don't or have even less? LF is sometimes wondering if my hubby was adopted because he can't believe the sheer stupidity of some of his family members. Spoiler, he isn't adopted. Join the club. Cousin's wife has also been updated about this. I thought she might need it in case of my aunt and the visitation of the grandkids. Oh, and cousin's wife got the job. She is also in the process of further protecting herself, but I will not share that information. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.